Hello, what's up, you guys? Mr. Anonymous here, back with yet another video. Been taking a break for a little bit. Now, came back obviously, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 5 most disappointing MCU films. My opinion. This is just my opinion. Please don't get angry. Now, okay. My number 5 spot is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, before you get your pitchforks and flamethrowers out, this movie is a great movie. It is good. But it's disappointing in the fact that it just wasn't the way I thought it would be. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. It's something that I really didn't enjoy too much. And I enjoyed it. It gave me laughs. But besides that, I mean, I don't know. It just really offset me. It just really kind of bugged me that the jokes were just way too much. And I mean, of course, you gotta have jokes in a Guardians of the Galaxy film. That's a Guardians of the Galaxy thing. They make jokes, they're funny, but I don't know. It was good, but it was disappointing. So, mostly a lot of these films, or not a lot of these films, some of these films, a very smidge of these films, like this one, is, this is the only one that's a good movie, a great movie, but it's just disappointing. My number 4 spot is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, I loved the first Captain America movie. Not a whole lot of people loved it, but they also didn't really hate on it as much. So that's why I put it at my number 4. Captain America 1 is good. I love it, but the second one is just so disappointing. And of course, it introduces, obviously, the Winter Soldier / Bucky Barnes. Spoiler and this whole thing if you haven't seen this movie yet somehow. And obviously, it introduces us to the Falcon, which I was kind of disappointed in the Falcon. I did warm up to his metallic wings, but it still kind of curdles my blood a little bit, but not as much as this movie in general. It's such a blah movie. It's boring. If I had to sit down or lay down or just sit down and watch this movie, I would be bored out of my mind. It is a boring movie. I would say it's like a 6. I would say it's like a 5.5 out of 10. 5.5 to a 6 out of 10. It's just disappointing. Obviously it's disappointing. I feel like I was hoping for a way better movie than what I actually received. But that's just my opinion, and don't hate on it. I actually don't really care. But that's my number 4 spots. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now moving on to my number 3 spot. A lot of you guys will probably agree with me that this is a really disappointing MCU film, and that is Thor: The Dark World. This movie is just overall a bad movie. It's not good. It's just disappointing at all fronts. Malekith is nowhere near as crazy as he is in the comic books. He's crazy, but nowhere near as crazy as he's in what is it called? Realm of Kings, War of Kings. He is insane. Alright? He is absolutely insane. In that comic book line. Now, of course, I'm not basing it off of that comic book line, but Malekith is supposed to be really loopy, crazy, insane. And I feel like they really just flopped the character. Most of the villains, I probably will do a top 5 most MCU villains that they flopped, because there's so many, and I really feel bad for some of the villains that they really let down in the MCU in general. But Malekith was a big one, and I mean, yes, again, spoiler alert, I mean, Thor's mother died, and that's the only dramatic part about it, is Thor's mother died. After that, I just kind of tuned off. It was a great, I don't know why I keep saying it was it was a mediocre film. It barely gets mediocre. It was just overall just a bad film, and I think they really messed up with the second Thor movie. The first one was phenomenal. I loved Thor 1. But this movie, they really gave the runs. But they also redeemed it in Thor Ragnarok, which I will be doing a movie review on either Saturday or Sunday, kind of depends. But yeah, Thor the Dark World is my number 3. Now moving on to my number 2 is Avengers Age of Ultron. You guys can agree with me on this one. You got to. Now, I'm not saying it was I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't a horrible film. It just was really bad. And, I don't know. It just was... It was a huge disappointment. Obviously, they couldn't bring in Hank Pym, which I can understand, but Hank Pym and Iron Man are the ones who created Ultron, so I felt like something was left out of there, but I wasn't too upset about that. It's just overall, it's just a bad film. They really, this movie was so overhyped. And it was insane. It was just insanely overhyped. And then you let down this movie so bad. I just hope Avengers Infinity War isn't overhyped for no reason like this movie was. This movie is terrible and I really dislike it. It's not the worst movie on this list. Obviously, this is only number 2. Only number 2, I say. But this is still a bad movie and I don't recommend seeing it. But at my number 1 spot, what could possibly be my number 1 most disappointing movie in the MCU entirety, just the entire MCU film? Oh, and by the way, just in case, I guess a dishonorable mention, Watch Mojo does, The Incredible Hulk. Now, I know a lot of you guys thought it was disappointing and it was bad. I personally love The Incredible Hulk movie just because I grew up with that movie a lot, so it was kind of nostalgia for me personally. But moving on to my number 1 spot is Iron Man 3, the worst MCU film in my opinion ever. The Mandarin isn't even the Mandarin of the comics. That was alright. So I was so angry when I figured out the Mandarin was just a freaking actor. I was so angry. And then the freaking Aldrich Killian has the nerve to call himself the Mandarin. No, you can't just switch out the mantle of the Mandarin to Aldrich Killian. What? So blood-curdling. It's so annoying. And I really hope that whoever made this film, I kind of forgot, is left in a pile of ashes, because this film is so underdeveloped and it's just so bad. It is honestly horrendous, and I really wish that they didn't end off the Iron Man trilogy with this god-awful movie. No Mandarin, just Trevor Slattery, who's an actor. I freaking hated that potato shooting kid. I forgot his name. I hated that little brat, and I hate Aldrich Killian. Yes, he could breathe fire out of his mouth. Whoop-de-doo. Come on, man. Come on. That is ridiculous. This is so annoying. I hope you guys agree with me that this is the worst, either the worst MCU film of all time, in the MCU entirety, or you guys just agree with me that this is the most disappointing movie ever. And thank God this one wasn't overhyped as much as the Avengers Age of Ultron was, because if so, this one will be agreed to everybody that this will be the worst MCU film of all time. Some people think it's alright, which I don't know how, because this movie is the trashiest movie I've ever seen made by Marvel, and that's saying something. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm back. Finally, I'm going to try to post as many videos as I can. 2 to 3. movie reviews will be coming: Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is an older one, but I watched it a while ago, and I totally forgot to do, like, I was planning on doing a movie review of it, but I forgot. So, around 2 to 3 movie reviews coming your way, probably around 2. But, because I'm probably going to rewatch Doctor Strange, and, I'm not a huge fan of it, but thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, Mr. Anonymous.